From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, proudly sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Now, if you want to take a listen to our archives, guess what? They are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Geraldine Orozco is owner of Bay Area Meditation in San Francisco, California. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm such a red pen, I am red penning myself because I forgot to put a comma in my writing script here between San Francisco and California, and I'm just mad at myself for that right now. Anyways, Geraldine specializes in corporate wellness programs for Silicon Valley techs such as Google, Facebook, Instagram, Square, and many more. She is also a monthly contributor to this show called The Spiritual You. In her daytime hours, Geraldine facilitates DNA reprogramming sessions and retreats internationally. She is one of the most popular speakers on the conference circuit and loves to share her knowledge and experiences in hybridization as well. She's got a couple of websites, GeraldineOrozco.com as well as BayAreaMeditation.com. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Geraldine Orozco, always a pleasure to have you here. How are you, my friend?
I'm fantastic. So excited for tonight. Getting ready for an incredible month this week. Let's see what this month, not this week.
Well, you know what? I got to tell you, I cannot believe I forgot that comma in the script.
Oh my God.
I know. I'm like feeling like I got to beat the tar out of myself for this, because I am such a red pen. I am such a red pen. It's unbelievable. And so to all of a sudden be missing a comma right now, it's just terrible. Terrible. Like, might as well restart the show, and I got to retype the script, but we're going to battle through it. I think I can make it. Anyways, Geraldine,
I think we'll be okay.
Okay. All right. Well, you are the backbone of what we do here on The Spiritual You, and we always appreciate you coming on in and joining us and having a good time, and more so educating us on what is really out there. Now, every time you come on in, we got to reintroduce you because we always have new people listening in for the first time, and they may not be familiar with you. Now, your story is this. You were in the corporate world in San Francisco, California. You had a very, very impressive business that you had built from scratch, and you were living a pretty good life when all of a sudden something happened.
That's right. And so for those of you that haven't heard the story before, it's a really life-changing experience when I had a contact experience one night in 2013. And just in the middle of the night, a bright light comes into my room. And I wake up, I look down at my phone, and boom, 3:33. I get up, I go to my window, and I am met with this incredibly bright light that pulls me out of my room and takes me into a craft. And so on this craft, I am being introduced to a lot of information about my roots in the Pleiadian lineage, being shown things that I had been doing previously, similar to what I'm doing now, which is talking about consciousness and extraterrestrial and interdimensional contact. And more importantly, the most impactful part of that was the introduction to my hybrid children. And that's what started my journey into questioning reality, questioning myself, trying to understand what was happening in my reality and how I got to that age without understanding how I ended up with these hybrid children. And the question on free will and the question on consciousness was something that completely changed my entire focus on life, to the point where I decided to sell my business. And my baby that I had been growing, out of my garage into a nice, very, very well-known company, I sold it, and I got hypnosis, and I really got into this entire concept of questioning reality and looking and searching for my truth. And that's the beginning of my journey. That's how it all started.
Do you regret that path that you were shown because it was such a vast change in your personal life?
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I had been going through this process for a long time, right, Dave? So my journey began in 2009, 2008, when I first started kind of diving into the meditation world. And early on, when my partner died, my fiance passed away, it kind of took me into this thing where I was questioning, like, okay, why is everything such a struggle in our life? We have so much struggle, so much pain. It's like I'm constantly in Groundhog Day at my corporate job. I wake up every day. I have this routine. I'm so dissatisfied with everything that's happening in my life, and I feel like I'm not even in control. So all of these questions that I was having about my reality really came to a stop when that happened to me, and brought me to really take a look at what was happening. And that was kind of the entryway into a deeper look, a deeper inquiry into what I really felt was right in my life. And I realized that pretty much everything that I was doing in my life, which I thought was exactly what I was supposed to be doing as a woman, as a daughter, as a girlfriend, as a fiance, as a partner, as a business person, it was not in alignment with anything I had truly intuitively been feeling. And further, my creative self was dying day by day at a cubicle in an office, doing things that I didn't really even want to do. So that's where it began. And if it wasn't for meditation, if it wasn't for making myself take an hour out of my day to meditate, I probably wouldn't have even began to question my reality at that point. I would have just kept this continuous loop of dissatisfaction. So I started a shamanic training. I got curious about healing due to the death of my partner. I started to think, how could I help someone in such a distressful moment as my partner was in at that time? In another world, in another timeline, if I had been prepared or if I had known more, how can we support the suffering brothers and sisters that we live with, And I realized that there was a whole community of us that really were becoming aware of all our suffering and our pain, and we were trying to look for solutions for that. So for me, mindfulness was that step. And so after I became certified in meditation and wellness and holistic stress coaching, I started to implement it in my workspace. And I started to share my workspace for meditation groups. I started Bay Area Meditation, which was a meetup. It started up as a meetup. And after that, we branched out into offering corporate, because my clients that were showing up on my meetup were all companies, corporate types that were kind of looking for a space to a breather, basically, in their day. And they told me, Geraldine, this is such a great group. Why don't you come to my office? I have a team of people. They would love what you're doing. Do you think you can come? And that's how it started. So, Dave, on the other side of the business was my event planning, and the event planning is incredibly high stress, as you know. So I was doing $1 million weddings, very luxurious events, catering, you name it. And if it wasn't for the meditation, I wouldn't have gotten to the level of success and sanity that I needed to get. So when I made the choice that I was no longer in alignment with event planning, it was right on the money. It was right what I needed. I knew that transition was right for me. And I think that when you deprogram all of these false programs that we're basically indoctrinated with, programmed with, you begin to recognize who you really are, and you activate parts of yourself that are completely different than what you were in this monotonous, without any self-inquiry, disconnected from yourself. So it was a life-changing experience that took really years to get to.
I got to ask you, and this is totally off topic, what the hell does $1 million wedding look like? Are there diamonds in that cake? I need to know.
There are diamonds in lots of places there, yes. But a wedding is so I in the Silicon Valley here, we have this incredible Indian weddings, and that was one of my specialty. And Indian weddings, if any of you know about them, they are week-long events. It's 4 or 5 days. Okay, they start on a Wednesday and they end on Sunday night, sometimes Monday. So imagine the most luxurious events every single night during those 5 days, 4 or 5 days. You're definitely going to be spending $1 million very quickly. Of course, these are very high-end clients. They're doctors. They're CEOs of companies. And as you know, it is beautiful to share love and family and celebrate that. But what I started to notice, Dave, after years of working with people, is that a lot of times these weddings and the amount of money that's being spent on these weddings is not even for or about love. There we have a false concept in our reality here about appeal and what we're looking at and luxury and the industry is incredibly hyped up to sell all of these luxury items that are completely unnecessary and most of the time cause a lot of stress in families. As you know, those of you that are married or have planned your weddings, it's a very stressful time financially and emotionally for the whole family. So a lot of times I'm the one behind the scenes looking at the tears and the arguments and the fights. And then on the front end, you see the beautiful wedding, but people don't realize sometimes the amount of work and the stress and sadness.
I could not imagine the bridezillas you had to deal with.
Oh, my goodness.
Cannot imagine that whatsoever. Oh, my goodness.
Very, very much so, yeah.
Now, be honest. Would you sooner deal with aliens or bridezillas?
Aliens any day. even the Dracos, even the reptilians,
Oh wow. Wow. Okay.
No, but I mean, it's very funny. We are programmed, Dave, from a very early age to have these ideas of what a wedding should look like. And it's not their fault. It's not their fault. We are a product of our system, of our society, that we grow up with Disney, first of all, which is a complete false illusion of what relationships or any kind of life should be like. And then we're bombarded with the music industry and Hollywood that really brainwashes us to think and have these false expectations about things. And it causes a complete false identity. And so we will fight at anything because we strongly believe in that moment that we need to have these things in our life in order to have worth of any kind. How sad is that? How sad is that, Dave? And so when we have that level of disassociation and disconnection, we're experiencing pain. So we're gonna really show that in the way that we express ourselves, in the way that we interact with people. And trust me, Dave, after 10 years of working with brides, you can see some awful, awful things. I mean, I've seen brides leave, grooms leave, families fall apart. I've seen just about everything. So it's a very interesting field to be in, very far away from what I'm in now. But it just speaks to our society and the pain that we are all experiencing, on some level or another.
No kidding. No care. Geraldine Orozco is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. As you started delving more into your own self and the people around you, how much help did you notice that people needed out there? Because you're multifaceted. You deal a lot with the alien and hybridization program, but you also deal with health, wellness, and really trying to refocus and reprogram people to be the best people they could be.
Exactly. And so I think it was, looking at this pain through the years of people, very closely looking at the moments of celebration that were turned into pain and suffering a lot of times, was the last drop in the bucket, really, Dave, because, my work went from dealing with weddings all the way to corporate realm, where I was training wellness and mindfulness. And it's the same thing. I mean, what you realize is that we're all experiencing the same patterns of behaviors and emotions, the same beliefs that we are lacking something, that we're incomplete, that we're not whole, that we're broken, that we are a product of all our lives suffering and traumas and pain. And it's because of the way our society is designed, right? We live in this kind of compartmentalized reality to the point that makes us feel completely isolated, disconnected from what's real. And what we know to be real within us is the dialogue, the inner dialogue, that intuition. So what's happening with us since children, since we're early age, even in the womb up until now, we intuitively have a sense as to how things need to be flowing in life. And when our intuition doesn't match with the external expression of life, whether it's our parents' relationship or how people are interacting with you at school or at work or in the office or with your families or as an adult, it just becomes that you have this disconnect because things should be something, something's wrong, but you look around you and nobody seems to know what's right. On the other hand, right? We're all doing our best based on the programs that we've been handed and the things that we know are available to us. So there is a complete lack, really, of an education, of an understanding of the structure of reality, the structure of how to create and manifest things as a human, how to interact, how to have that inner dialogue with oneself. And so when we lack that connection with the self to be able to notice an emotion that comes up, a trigger, and walk ourselves through that trigger in a very healthy and nurturing and constructive way, instead of what we've mostly been trained is to kind of judge or criticize or suppress all of those, emotions that come up. It causes a complete disassociation with who we need to be. So this is something that all of us, every single one of us is experiencing on one level or another. And so the thing is, how do we learn? A lot of people, they go to, let's say, they go to psychologists to get therapy. Okay, they do the talk therapy, so on and so forth. Some people go towards religion, right? And you can look at a spectrum of different kinds of religions with different dogma, different ideas and ideas, right? Schools of thought that will help you kind of guide you. They say they're going to guide you. But in reality, and I know this because I've studied many, many religions. I've also been a part of many religions. I've experienced firsthand many different cultures. And what I've realized through studying Buddhism and, even Hinduism, Sufism, Muslim religion, Christianity, Catholicism, is that what's lacking is an instruction on how to reconnect with oneself and how to find an integration between the spiritual and the physical. So when we have this constant programming of disconnect, that's what causes the suffering. And we're trained heavily to have this resistance on that reconnection. So we have to learn. The thing is, identifying where we are resisting to come into this authentic self that we've been suppressing for so long. And so that's where I come in with the work that I'm doing now. And of course, that work has deepened, not just because the psychic abilities that I've developed over time, with the contact experience, and then through meditation and healing, but I am speaking from a place of personal experience. I wouldn't talk to you about something that I just read in a book. I'm talking to you about a complete life change that has resulted in an entire, a life of purpose and of service, really, that is now here to serve others. So, there's never been a regret. And seeing the need, first in myself and then in the world around me, is what gets me up every morning. It's the motivation to keep going, the focus to help come into a unity consciousness that we all need right now.
Geraldine Orozco is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Under 3 minutes to go, Geraldine, and we'll probably end up taking this into the next round of discussion with you when we come back from break. But I want to get things started here. You know, you mentioned about becoming almost humane again and finding our inner selves and trying to, you know, bring that person forward for the betterment of our own personal well-being. That being said, you're battling social media, the biggest giant, in my opinion, against humanity that is out there. Because, you know, we see people posting fancy dinners. Nobody posts a real photo of them. You know, I mean, I've watched friends of mine, both male and female, stand there for good 10, 12 minutes trying to find the right pose with the right shot with the right wind blowing in their hair and make sure that there's nothing in their teeth and you know, there's no issues whatsoever. Hell, I've done it myself because I have to. I'm a media guy and I'm unattractive and I have to have camera angles. And anyways, but what I'm saying is we've built up a fake sense of ourselves, Geraldine. Mm-hmm. And right. And we put that out in the public that every day is rosy, every day is peachy. Doesn't matter if it's Twitter, doesn't matter if it's Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest are probably the worst of it all. How do we combat that? And we got about 90 seconds and we'll continue this on the other side as well.
Yeah, I mean, we have to first understand how deep the illusion goes, because that's one of the things that I wasn't getting when I was first coming into this is what's reality and what's not real, right? We think what we're experiencing here, we even think that our pain, our trauma, all the experiences that we have, we are a product of that, and that's it. You have no other option. This is who you are. But the programming that we need to look at goes even deeper. I mean, we are in an entire structure of reality that is built to compartmentalize a lot of things to the point where we completely feel more and more isolated. And now look at what's happening in our world around us. This entire thing is designed to pull us further and further into a state of isolation. And so the invitation is really, how do you find your true self? And so that's what we want to look at. And, you know, this is a perfect opportunity to kind of really understand what it means to find the true self. And it takes some work. It takes some layering, deprogramming of all of this matrix. And I'm really going to break it down. We're going to go into that a little bit deeper when we get back.
I think we should.
Yeah, but it's a really important question.
Absolutely. Geraldine Orozco from BayAreaMeditation.com, GeraldineOrozco.com. She comes in once a month for the Spiritual You. This is where we get our fix for our Zen and our Chi. And, of course, there's nobody better to help us through this personal path than Geraldine. Spaced Out Radio continues. Social media. Is it the bane of our existence? We'll find out right after this.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know little brother is watching.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month, and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you because I love to do that, and I have the greatest job in the world being able to talk to you guys each and every night. Welcome back. We want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates and around North America and the world. Thank you for tuning us in. Reminder that all of our archives are free at youtube.com/spaced out radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. All right. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. On Instagram, follow us at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Geraldine Orozco is here, and we are talking social media right now on the spiritual you and how it changes you as a person. Now, what does this have to do with ETs or anything like that? Well, this is also about spirituality, health, wellness, and consciousness as well. We've never really gone down this road with Geraldine. By the way, her website, GeraldineOrozco.com and BayAreaMeditation.com. Geraldine, welcome back.
Hi. Thank you so much.
I have to admit to you, I am a social media addict. I love it, but I hate it at the exact same time. I do. I really do. You know, and if I don't think that I would be as much of an addict if I wasn't on this show, doing this show. I'm not a fan of Instagram. Twitter is okay if you want to be snarky, because it's kind of fun at times to be snarky. And trust me, I take a lot of snark every night. I also look at Facebook, and as we were talking about right before the break, on how we give this public projection that every day is the best day ever. Every day we are full of joy. Look at the meals I'm eating. Look at the bubble bath that I'm having with a glass of wine. You know, look at my new haircut. Look at my painted toenails. Look at everything. You know, like it's become a show-off session of whom we really are. And we got to get deep into this because it's really turned people into something they're not. Right.
And really what's happening is that it's programming this kind of ADD behavior, right? There's not one thing that you're paying attention to. There's no calm or there's no genuine connection with something. It's just constant stimulation from every possible angle. But the thing with the system, Dave, and it's not just social media. I mean, we are bombarded with what we're seeing in films and what we're hearing on the radio, music, you know, and then we go to our Facebook and all these things, and we're taking a look at all this stuff that we're hearing and we're seeing, and we end up believing that we live in a reality that's completely false. None of what we're seeing online, you know, through those forms is reality. And, you know, when you're young, and you're growing up in society and becoming aware of all these things around you, the kids are the ones that are most impressionable with all these things. And they grow up believing and thinking that reality is one way when it actually is completely different. But even as adults, I mean, even with my clients now, one of the most painful things that I see in my sessions is that people come to me and they say, Geraldine, I'm doing everything to be happy. I wake up every day, I put a smile on my face, I get to work, but still I can't get myself into this state of genuine joy. I feel like there's something lacking. It's not all the way, right? And so what's happening is that there's such a deep disassociation, right? Because again, we were talking about that earlier. What we're seeing outside is not matching what we're feeling on the inside. And that's a problem. This is the root of a lot of disconnect. If you mold yourself to the system that you're being told is needed, you know, in reality through social media, if you're being told how to dress, how to speak, how to act, how to look, how to behave, what to do to be successful, what to do to be healthy, beautiful, all of these ideals that are fed into our subconscious mind on so many different ways, in so many different ways through film and all of these social media things, there's a subconscious disconnect with what is real and natural and healthy and well. Right. So we're actually mostly being programmed to be consumers. And the consumer side of it is basically telling you that we are in a constant state of need and survival. So when you're in a constant need and survival, you're going to go look outside of you for every possible solution for every imaginary problem that you don't really even have, right? And so you think that you're not perfect, you think that you're not successful enough, you think that you don't have enough. And then you have this pressure from the things that are happening on the back end of the structure of society, which is basically, your home, keeping your family safe, keeping your family fed, paying your bills, all of these things that are a part of this system. How can someone feel safe in a society that is constantly pulling them from all these different directions? So that in my early journey, that was one of the things that it took me a moment to understand, because I thought, and a lot of us, we think that we're doing everything that we're supposed to be doing based on the norms that have been designed for us. And it goes even deeper than that, Dave. A lot of the suffering and trauma that we experience emotionally, right? Because how does our reality play out? We go to work. Let's say something happens in the office and we become triggered, right? We begin to look at these cyclical patterns of events that cause us pain, suffering throughout our life. And it's going to be showing up not just in our workplace, but in our relationships, in our family, everywhere. And so we take a look at those triggers a little bit deeper. And the question is, why am I always triggered by this particular thing? Something they said, this is similar emotion that keeps coming up over and over again. So the thing is that if we compare it with what we're supposed to be by looking at, all the things that social media or all of these external sources are telling us, there's a mismatch there. So we have to kind of recognize that the emotions and triggers that come up are also another program that we have been learning since a child, since we grew up with our parents. And this is learned behavior that we adopted from our parents and their interactions. And then you're going to take it to their generation. They are a product of their generation, and so on and so forth, going all the way back in time. Everyone in our society is a product of their environment. And it becomes dangerous when society is blindly following all of the things that we're looking at outside without really checking or taking a moment to step back and seeing if it really is something that is applicable to you in the present moment, in the now, in your body, in your current state. And what we end up finding is that we are really honestly living in some kind of illusion, in a fantasy world. And we don't recognize that until we start feeling so much suffering and pain. The suffering and pain is a result of the resistance to things that are no longer in alignment with us, things that we don't, the values and moral systems that we have inherently within us from our intuitive self is completely different from the morals that are being taught to us through social media and through these films. So there's that disassociation that occurs, that disconnect runs extremely deep in the subconscious mind, in the psychology. And this is what has brought our society to a point of feeling completely helpless, completely disconnected, completely feeling that we have no power right now. And social media and media, Dave, is just one part of this system, right? So we live in a compartmentalized, it's like a pyramid of different aspects of ourselves. I mean, we have the financial institutions, we have businesses and corporations, we have the military, we have politics, we have education. Media is one of them. We also have religion, which plays a huge role in how we make up our mind and how we see ourselves. All of these things, including the health, well-being, the medical industry, all of these aspects of our society are designed in a way to make us feel completely disconnected from what we truly feel is real and healthy for us. So how do we come back from that? Again, the first step is to really question, do you agree, number one, with the things that you're seeing online? Okay, do you agree with those things? Do these look like genuine expressions of authentic joy, happiness, love? I want to ask yourself a question. Do you know what love really is? Because one of the things that I are surprising to me is that I work with clients from all around the world every single day. And when I get to the point where I ask them, okay, what is it that you need to be happy, right? The majority of people, they don't know. They don't know what it is they need to be happy. They have a hard time identifying, pinpointing what it is that they need to get them to the next step. So that means that, we are such a very profoundly affected by this kind of disconnect. And it's been happening since childhood to the majority of us. So we have to do the work to reconnect and re-identify what is a human. What we are told is a human is not a human. That's a consumer robot that is, basically coming into this artificial intelligence that is just designed and trained to respond to stimuli that's coming in through, social media or any of this technology that we're very heavily now connected to more than ever. And it's going to get worse. Okay. If we take a look at how the body responds to the frequency patterns that come from music, from radio, from television, the body is literally responding to that. The brain is responding to that. And the patterns of frequency that are being emitted by television and radio waves, these waves that are affecting us, are literally putting us in a hypnotic state. They are made to desynthesize ourselves from our emotions, from our connection to ourself, from the identification of our well-being or awareness of ourself. So it is incredibly important for you to understand how that works, because we come into these hypnotic states all the time. And most of the time, humans, we are living outside of our body because our true, real emotions have become intolerable. We are trained to disconnect from our emotions. So, it takes a moment for you to sit down and be able to learn. We have to re-educate ourselves on what the emotions are as tools to identify what is our true intuition and how we truly feel about things. Because the way we are right now in our society is deeply, deeply programmed, Dave.
I can see that. I can see where it's almost scarring to the point now where we have become so reliant on everything around us and the public perception around us that we've almost forgotten who we are. Mm-hmm. How do we find ourselves from within?
Mm-hmm. So again, and this is something that right now is so important, because we look at what's happening in the world around us. And I think a lot of people have recognized over the past couple months that, boy, where can we find truth? We are realizing that, well, let's talk about media. Media is owned by a very, very small group, by a 10%, that is managing and often manipulating the information that we're receiving. And more so, the information is being, it's being red tape. Like we are completely being filtered with the information that we're allowed to receive and to look at. And the question is of our free speech is coming into question now, right? So when we're heading in this direction now, where things are getting really serious, not only is the media and all of these things heavily controlled and manipulated for you to think and feel a very specific way, but the information that we're getting is also being distorted. So we are really recognizing that over the past couple of months, to the point where we don't know what's true, what's up, what's down anymore. So in a way, what's been happening in our world has been a very interesting opportunity for us to go inside and really question, how can we identify a discernment, a very powerful intuitive self that can then kind of tap into what's happening. When the physical aspect of ourselves is being weaponized against us, which has been happening tremendously through the emotional body, our emotions are being heavily manipulated. It's manipulated in many different ways. When you watch a film, you are triggered by the sound waves and the kind of music that's being played to feel a certain way. Okay, and so this kind of manipulation is happening through the five senses. It happens through sight, the colors that we see, through the emotional body, through our the endocrine system, even the food that we're eating, the food that we're ingesting in the body. Majority of us are addicted to sugar, and so the first thing when we come into high stress situations, we're going to reach for sugar to create comfort in our body because we've been drugged with sugar, for a very long time. If we look at the recipes really briefly of the food back in the 50s, they're tremendously different now, right? So our groceries have changed. What we're eating has changed. And it goes even deeper than that. Even the genetically modified food that we're eating is slowly changing. As a matter of fact, the other day, there was an article about how they are looking to genetically modify tomatoes in order to be vaccines. It's going to be a new form of ingesting vaccines into the body. And this is a lab in Mexico that is going to start implementing and testing these tomatoes with vaccines in South America. So, everything that we're kind of pointing towards now is kind of going to a place where we really need to recognize that our codependency of these systems that are no longer in alignment with our well-being, we have to slowly disconnect from them. And we can start doing that by, number one, taking a moment to meditate. Okay, so that's always going to be the number one step, because if you don't have a connection with yourself, and if you can't control the emotions that have been manipulated by all of these different things around you, you're going to be a weapon of destruction towards yourself, right? So the number one step is to transform all of that suffering and pain that you've been feeling, whether it's trauma that you still haven't addressed or worked with from childhood, or whether it's something that's been happening to you in your work or what's happening in the world around us now. This is a great opportunity for us to start working with those emotions and training and learning how we can start to manage them properly. We can't be afraid of our emotions. All of these programmings have been training us to feel that emotions are our enemy, that it's bad. Immediately, we have a black and white category. If you have a smile on your face and you have a tiny little waist and a very luxurious car and a home, you're good. You should be happy. Now, if you don't have a job, if you're out of shape, if you look a certain way, if you speak a certain way, you should be unhappy. You fall into the category of bad. Okay, so we have this polarity, this false concept of this polarity that we're looking, this filter that we look at everything, and this is how we have been trained to look at ourselves. So that's the number one thing that we need to address. How critical are you with yourself throughout your day? If you're constantly criticizing yourself for what you're eating, feeling bad about the emotions that you feel, arguing or judging yourself throughout your day, that's immediately an attack on your system, not just physically, but emotionally and energetically. So this is the first step. So we got to pull away from that mentality, and we got to be more constructive, creative. Okay. In this reality that we live in right now, we are designed. The architecture of creation in our reality is the law of three, which is the feminine, the masculine, which unites to create. This design, this beautiful architecture of creation is manifested and shown down to your molecular level of your body, all the way to the very largest organism of consciousness in the world that we live in. Okay, so this model of creation is from the plants to the cells in your body to the universe. And so in order to create, what we're learning by looking at nature and the things around us is that in order to create, there must be balance. Anytime that we come into separation, falling for fragmentation, or the illusion of being different or separate from a whole, that's when we start coming into toxic and self-destructive behavior. Okay. And that happens internally by judgment, towards yourself. And it happens externally by feeling that you're isolated or separate from a whole. Because in reality, everything that we are is incredibly mathematically interconnected with everything in the world that we live in and in the multiverse. So these are the kinds of concepts that we need to start understanding, taking time to really research about ourselves. And everything that I'm talking to you of here are things that I have been able to experience through meditation. But they're also things that you can begin to see by just looking and observing the world around us. Okay? When we go into a state of war, separation, when we're trying to isolate ourselves from others, we become weaker that way. Okay? When we unite, okay, when people start coming into this collective community, we are all on the same page, we become incredibly empowered. And this is what we're being called to do right now. If we have 1% managing all of these different things, all of these systems, all of these compartmentalized aspects of our reality right now, we are actually a much larger number that can unite once we become aware of our power in order to begin to change things. And we can change things by the contribution that we give to the world around us. So this is how we begin to kind of formulate and construct a new reality. This is really important, Dave.
I can see that. And hearing the impassioned plea in your voice, it's very easy to see that, this is something that we need to do. I mean, I do not agree with the fact that you did not mention bacon being part of that staple of humanity. I mean,
bacon
I'm a little unsure of the cause and effects of taking bacon out of someone's life. But in reality, we also have to be a little bit more temperamental too in regards to change, because I know with myself, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little fat. I'm a little fat, but I have made change. I was a Pepsi addict. I was drinking 3-4 cans of Pepsi a day, and I haven't had a Pepsi since June 1st. But I look at myself and I see the frustration, because damn it, I thought if I stopped drinking Pepsi, that all of a sudden everything would change on me. It hasn't. It hasn't. But I do notice the little things. My energy is up. I feel clearer. Water doesn't taste as bad, because it's flavorless, and we can get more into that. We can get more into that when we come back here, because we are literally a couple seconds away from going to break. Geraldine Orozco's The Spiritual You continues as we get into health, wellness, spirituality, Zen. Who are we? What do we want to become? What do you want to do with your life? Oh, come on. Who hasn't said I want to rock after that? But Geraldine's website, bayareameditation.com, as well as GeraldineOrozco.com. More Spaced Out Radio in hour 2 with Geraldine's The Spiritual You, coming up after this.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night, where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is watching.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Let's kick off hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I'm your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you, and thank you so much for taking the time to tune us in. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on Revolution Radio and TalkStream Live. Remember, you can check out all of our archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Frickin' Dough is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, it's the Spiritual You, where Geraldine Orozco comes in for her once-a-month visit to hang out and talk everything Zen and Chi. And we've been talking about health, wellness, who we are, what we should strive to be as we continue on with Geraldine. Her website, GeraldineOrozco.com and BayAreaMeditation.com. Geraldine, welcome back.
Hey, guys. Happy to be back.
Now, right before the break, we were getting into a real in-depth conversation about who are we? How do we find ourselves? How deep do we have to go in order to start projecting who we really are? And I think we both decided, and I think the public would agree, that's just not going to happen on social media.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, we were going through the different aspects of our compartmentalized reality, and so what's the next step? We talked about that. We got to start kind of peeling away the layers of all the programming that we've had. It's very interesting, and I'd love to see your thoughts on this. We have this idea, and very simple, right? We look at our parents for the example when we're growing up. We look at our mom, our father, and we want to mirror their behavior oftentimes. Now, some of us come from families that didn't have a father or didn't have a mother, but society tells us, or movies or social media or all these things tells us that a mother has to play out this certain role. And they show us, right, in the film. The mother is this nurturing person. She's in the home. She's in the kitchen baking cookies, all these little ideas. And then the father's the one working, right? He's with making the money, coming back home, not very connected or very talkative, or all of these little ideas. I don't know if you noticed this, but the movies that you watch or the images that you see on social media about what family should be, I believe is a complete illusion from the reality of all of us and what we have all experienced with our family, whether we've had a father or didn't have a father, or had a mother, didn't have a mother. We are all trying to achieve the illusion of a family that really, honestly, it doesn't exist. Even the most perfect, seemingly quote unquote perfect family plays out these roles that have been kind of indoctrinated in society since the beginning of time, and very much implemented and pushed at specific times historically, for example, in the 50s, in the 30s and 20s, and so on before that, due to religion, right? And due to a lot of belief systems that really talked about the role of the feminine and the masculine in a way that was not constructive. It was actually more in a way of creating a very controlled image, a controlled illusion of what a female or a masculine or a man should look like, do, and feel. So immediately as children, when we have these intuitive expressions or reactions to things that don't fit in those boxes that we're told things have to be in families, that immediately causes so much distress. And what I do with people every day in DNA reprogramming is take them back to those programs, where those programs were created, right? We take a look at those scenarios, right? So this person that has, let me give you an example, a reoccurring problem in the office, a very domineering boss that constantly makes him feel not good enough, not worthy. And he does everything possible to strive in his workday in order to achieve and succeed and make money. His family's falling apart. His wife wants to get a divorce, so on and so forth. In his personal life, with his personal connection with himself, he feels completely helpless and he feels like he's unworthy. Where did this program come from? You're going to go back. You're going to take a look at what happened with the relationship with the father. The father wasn't there, or he was very disconnected. Okay. And so when you take them down this journey, you begin to ask, well, at what point was there an expectation that you had where you thought your father was supposed to behave in a certain way? And we have this certain belief system that has been drilled into our mind that the perfect father has to be a man that comes home every day and plays, with us, or is interacting with us, or is present, because some of us haven't had a father, for example. And so immediately that creates a problem for us, a disconnect, a disassociation with what we're seeing in reality and what we're feeling and what we're actually experiencing in real life. And very few times we look to social media or to any of these media outlets that are showing us what real life is like, the challenges of relationships within our families, what families are really look like for the majority of us. And this false concept of perfection, or the false concept of what a family should be, or a union, even relationships, a marital union should look like, causes complete destruction within ourselves and what we're doing in our life. So we end up being these very empty shells of only a fragment of what we could really potentially be, because we are basing ourselves on things that are not real, on illusions, on concepts that are not based in reality. So the disconnect is programmed on an emotional, energetic level. Now let's take it deeper to the healing part. What do we got to do? Okay, so we know this now. We've heard it. So when we are starting to feel the triggers coming up, so let's say you have problems with your partner, you have problem at work, and I want you to start to notice, if you see certain patterns. So go ahead and see, like, how often do you have the emotion that comes up? The emotion that you want to look at is the one that you feel when something triggers you. So whether it's something someone says, does, or an environment that you're in that triggers a very strong emotion in you, and it's going to be an emotion that you're used to feeling, okay? Now, you might not be aware that you're used to feeling this emotion. So that's going to be probably the hardest part, is identifying these repetitive patterns that you're actually coming into all the time. And it's very simple. Just take a moment to close your eyes and take a look at the past 7 days. Ask yourself, what emotion do I come into? What emotion do I most tend to come into in those 7 days? And if you can identify that, that is your gateway to an entire deprogramming of major programs that you didn't even know that you're storing in your body. Now, don't forget, we are holographic beings. Our body equates only a small percentage of what your entire organism is. You are a multidimensional body, and the majority of your body, of your full expression, is non-physical. The physical part of you is like a sponge. It's constantly absorbing everything from around you, what people are saying, doing, feeling. A lot of you are extremely sensitive, and you guys are all pulling that into your body. How much of that actually belongs to you? How much of that is actually your own personal thoughts, and how much of it is a result of your environment? So we got to start looking at that, and we have to begin to create healthy boundaries, okay? So let's go back to this practice. After you identify that emotion, how are you going to know where to take that? First of all, you got to be okay with feeling it, because the reason why this emotion keeps coming up is because you're either rejecting it, you can't accept what's happening, you're in resistance, and you're in resistance to even feeling the emotion, okay? So allow yourself to feel it. If you allow yourself to feel that emotion, sit with it for a moment. Imagine that you come to the crown of your head and you're going to look down at your body, experiencing the emotion that you're feeling. Things begin to shift, and you don't get stuck in the emotion. Because what happens is, a lot of us, we get stuck in the emotion, in the feeling body of it, and all we want to do is we want to sit and dwell on the emotion. We want to keep feeling the pain, the suffering, the reaction that it causes us, which could be anxiety or back pain. Believe it or not, we are actually more programmed and conditioned to feel suffering, and sometimes we're addicted to this pain more so than we know how to move away from it or forward from it. And that's really one of the biggest problems with us today, is that we're not educated in school or really anywhere in our lives how to handle emotions, how to work with emotions and process them correctly. So this kind of education is something that you're not necessarily going to find in books, but this is what we're here. We're here to learn together. And a lot of these things you're going to find that intuitively you kind of knew. You knew that you needed to sit with this emotion, but part of you, because of the programming that we have about emotions, for example, if you feel depressed, that's wrong, it's ugly, it's bad, it's not good for you. We kind of want to shy away from it. And so we become intimidated by these negative emotions. And what happens? They become these elephants in the room, that we're constantly suppressing, pushing down, stuffing down. And over time, that turns into illness, that turns into sickness. So we need to create really fluid movement in the body. And that is what health is. If you look at a little plant, a little flower, a flower doesn't come into bloom judging itself and saying, oh, I'm not as big as the flower next to me, or I'm not as good or as vibrant as the flower next to me. This flower naturally expands, grows, and outlives its cycle of life in full acceptance of all that it's experiencing, even if it's bad weather, too much sun, not enough water, whatever it is it's experiencing, it allows the cycle of its life to just go through. And as you can see, the flower dies, goes back into the earth, and over time, another flower will grow in that space. So we kind of have to take a look at emotions and our life experiences in this same way. We have to flow through these experiences, allowing them without much resistance, because the majority of the suffering that we feel is occurring as a result of the resistance. That resistance is what causes pain and suffering in ourselves, in our mind, in our bodies.
All right. Listening to what you just said, it makes a lot of sense hearing it from you. But when we try and put it into our own daily schedules, okay, especially when it comes to children, it all comes down to time. Like Geraldine, the one thing I have noticed, when my daughter was born, I was 25 years old. I was full of energy. I had time for everything. Okay, and I would try and spend and do as much time as I possibly could with her. With my little guy, who we had at 40, okay, I'm now middle-aged. Yes, I'm more relaxed, but I'm also more tired. Do you know what I'm saying? And so those times when I should be playing with my child, okay, I need rest because I have to do this show, or because there's jobs that I need to do around the house and do my duties around here. There's a lot of things going on that aren't conducive and to, being the perfect parent that you try to be, that all of us try to be. And, and then there are times because of that, and I'm sure other parents will feel the same way when I say this, but I feel an incredible amount of guilt when I look at my little guy, when I could be outside playing Nerf gun wars with him or a water fight or something, and instead I'm on my couch relaxing because my energy level is already on empty, and here he is sitting here oogling a game on his iPad. All right? I mean, I feel horrible.
Excellent choice of question. This is so important, Dave, and thank you so much for bringing this up, because this is exactly the thing that is a part of this programming. We don't realize it, right? But let's look back. Our children, it's not that what they need, our concept of creating family or attention to the kids or showing them love, we think is playing the game, buying the toy, or doing certain things that are going to cause the feelings of love and joy for them. But in reality, what a child really wants, it's not necessarily the playing of the game or the act of being, playing football or whatever it is that you want to play with them. It's the attention, the time, the quality of attention, listening, the communication, the awareness of them that creates a profound feeling of being seen, heard, acknowledged. Because when you break it down and you start looking back, let's look back at your childhood, for example. When we were kids, do you remember the act of playing the game, or do you remember the fact that they listened to you? It could have been just a moment of just listening to you, telling him a story. That is what's valuable, and that's what kids want. This is a new understanding. Go ahead, Dave.
I will tell you this, and I apologize for cutting you off.
No, go ahead.
I love my dad. My dad is my hero. Okay. Mm-hmm. And him and I have a very, very special father-son bond. All right. And it's really cool. And I'm blessed, because a lot of people don't have their moms or their dads around. And I'm 47 years old, and I still have both my parents. And trust me, I do not take that for granted, because I know, and I could see it, unfortunately, I could see that finish line coming, at least, because of my mom's health. All right. But when I look back at my dad and I look at all the cool things that we did, whether it was fishing, whether it was being the weekend at the ballpark or at the hockey arena or wherever it was, there was always other people around. But when I look back, the one thing that I wanted from my dad that I never got, I wanted him to play catch with me. Mm-hmm. I wanted him to come out and shoot a play some hockey, some street hockey with me. But he was always too tired. Yeah. He was always too tired. And this is where I personally have, as a parent, that mental block of thinking, my God, it's like the song "Cats in the Cradle," where I'm, my boy just grew up just like me, and I'm like, damn it, I don't want to be my old man. I want to be able to enjoy my little guy a little bit more. I mean, how hard is it to get off my ass and take him fishing when there's, 100 lakes around here to choose from that have fish? How hard is it to just do it when I am working 2 full-time jobs? I have a total of 90 minutes in between my day, but I have my weekends. You know what I'm saying? And for a lot of us who are going through that, I think the guilt of what we have or what we don't have is more painful.
Right. But let me tell you, that's the distraction, right? Because we spend a lot of energy judging ourselves, judging the situation, instead of constructively creating, designing, organizing, and scheduling really constructive time with our children, valuable time that is quality time. And like you said, you just wanted him to play catch with you. But if you dive deeper into that, Dave, was it really the catch, or was it that quality attention from him, that was needed? Was it that intimate time shared? And a lot of children, that is really what they're missing, what they want. And we can build that in many different ways that don't have to be complete days or elaborate events or scheduled, programs that we create for the children. Because yes, we are very busy, but the time that you do spend with them has to be complete open communication, acknowledgement of the fact that you're not there at that moment, but you're doing everything that you can in order to create incredible quality with the time that you spend with them. Because kids know. They know better than us, and they see beyond the filters that we often try to create in order to look like we're trying to do something. And the other side of it is like when you're not with them, we can create little connections, communications. There's different little things that we can do to let the child know that they are being seen, they are being cared for. And it's communication is the most important. If you just let them know, Dave, that you feel this way, even your child will understand. And just the fact that you acknowledged what's happening can save an entire life of trauma or feelings of abandonment or disconnect or feelings of not being acknowledged. That is the power of awareness. First, yourself, and then him. Now, this is such an incredible example that you gave us, because it really shows us and speaks to the fact of how cyclical these patterns in relationships are. You had this exact pattern with your father, and this is exactly why this child came and incarnated in your lineage, to allow you to experience this exact same cyclical pattern, Dave. The question is, are we going to turn this opportunity into a construction and healing of this lineage? Because I can guarantee that your father's father also had that experience, and the father before him, down that entire lineage. This is a reoccurring event, and it's the feeling of a disconnect with the divine masculine. Okay? What is the divine masculine? The divine masculine is action, movement, application. So take a look at ourselves, take a look at our children, take a look at the family that we're building and our entire family, and look at where there has been stagnation with movement, change, application of things. Where have we felt like we couldn't move forward in our lives? So this is how complex these things end up being, and they really affect not just our child, but really the entire life of our child, our family, the quality of our life that we're living and choosing to live right now. Just by realizing this one thing, you can change and transform how you choose to live, going forward. So your awareness, Dave, is so incredible, and I commend you for having that awareness. The next step for all of you dads or moms out there that have a hard time connecting with your child is creating opportunities to have very intimate, loving. And for that, you really need to know what love is. Love is the acceptance of all things around you as a part of yourself. So that means that any internal battles that you have with your own self that don't allow you to fully accept yourself, love yourself, and see yourself for who you are, cause a disconnect and dissonance with the way that you're expressing love. Okay.
Geraldine, I got to get you to hold on right there. We'll come back with more of Geraldine Orozco's The Spiritual You on Spaced Out Radio next.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, Use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose beard oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters, welcoming all of you back to tuning us in. We appreciate that. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we are talking with Geraldine Orozco. The Spiritual You is underway as Geraldine joins us for the, she joins us once a month to bring in our Zen, our Chi, and our aliens as we bring her back here. Geraldine's websites, GeraldineOrozco.com and BayAreaMeditation.com. All right, Geraldine, welcome back.
All right.
We kind of beat ourselves up here in the last 45 minutes of this show. I want to get back to some positivity, and then we're going to get to some aliens. Okay.
Sounds great.
For a lot of us, we're caught in these negative connotations, and it drags us down. It depresses us. It's a black cloud that is over top of us. How do we start to shift into positivity in order for our soul to be able to grow, in order for our own energy to expand?
Absolutely. And that's such a great question. Number one thing I can say is never be afraid of truth. If you're afraid of truth, or if truth feels yucky, that's going to be the part of you that we're not going to be able to get through to get to that joy. So how do we start to create a life of joy? Now, I've been working on creating this incredible program. I'm going to be putting it up on my website. It's a training program, 7-day challenge of coming into a state of love, training yourself to feel unconditional love and joy at all times, but real love, not just the smile on your face. And that's the other thing. Love and joy and happiness is not just about, smiling. Sometimes feeling love and feeling joy looks serious and just content and relaxed and just balanced. For me, that's my favorite state of being, is in a state of neutrality and awareness. For me, that's the most wonderful state to be. So what I'm creating with this program is following me throughout my day to take a look at how you start your day with the intention of staying in a state of joy. Now, one of the incredible things about being in joy is, in order to feel joy, you have to be authentic. You have to be honest with yourself. So never suppress any kind of dark feelings or sadness or any kind of feelings of loneliness or depression. Instead, look at it, feel it, know and understand that emotions are just tools. They're just tools to help us get information. So if you can allow yourself to feel the emotion, and you'll notice it'll just gently start to leave the body after a while, after you're feeling the emotion. Once you've done that, you've addressed it and acknowledged it, you can then kind of continue, okay? So first thing in the morning when you wake up, okay, what's the first emotion that you feel? If you're waking up every morning with anxiety, take a look at why you're feeling that anxiety and start to create changes in your routine Try to pull out of routines that are constantly going to make you feel stuck or stagnant, okay? And these are little things that you can do. You can do it by changing your diet slightly, incorporating more fruits. There's been this incredible test on eating pineapples and oranges in the morning if you're feeling depressed or sad. It incredibly changes the chemistry of the brain, of the body, to respond in a more joyful, happy way. So that's something that's very cost effective and very delicious that you can do to enhance and stimulate the taste buds and the brain, and creating these new connections in the body that are connecting with a more joyful, more bright. Now, also make sure that you guys are getting vitamin B12. If you guys are deficient in vitamin B12, or you have some deficiency in vitamins or nutrients, know that that will also affect your health and your mood. Are you eating properly? Are you eating a lot of those dark leafy greens, right? Green is the color of your heart chakra center, okay? So the body feeds itself by the different colors that you're also eating. Those colors are not just by chance. Each one of the vegetables and fruits that have certain colors are literally designed to address parts of your body and organs that are interconnected with the chakra systems, which are based on vibrational frequency. So the root chakra, for example, the body is a color red. So if you eat red colored fruits and vegetables, like for example, red apples or bell peppers, for example, have a high level of vitamin C and other kinds of vitamins that are very nutritious for the parts of the body that are in the lower organs and the legs and the feet and the endocrine system. Okay, so it's really important to start becoming aware that nutrition, joy, and happiness we have to look at it from more of a holistic aspect, okay? Everything matters, not just one thing. It's not just emotions. It's not just the things that are happening in your life. We are a product of everything. Emotions are the tools of communication and information. But aside from that, your physical body is also needing exercise. It needs nature. A lot of us are so disconnected from nature. We're indoors all the time that we're completely disconnected from the natural cycles and the circadian rhythm of the planet Earth. So really simply ground yourself. Learn to ground the body. And if you can't go out into nature, what you can do is you can visualize a connection from your body to the center of the earth. You can also have plants in your home. If you have a plant, they are designed, the design of a living organism of a plant is naturally in alignment with the natural rhythms of Earth. Okay, so we have a toroidal field around our body, so does the planet Earth. So if you can align yourself with nature, the organs begin to rebalance themselves, okay? And the energies that are out of balance in the body, so too much masculine energy means, you guys are constantly moving, you're constantly trying to stay stimulated by things. Too much feminine energy, you're maybe going more into the emotional body, more into this creative life force. Maybe you're too distracted from focusing on tasks at hand. So look at where you're at, where your mind is at, and where you have imbalances, and help yourself come back into a state of balance. And the next part is your emotional self, right? The emotions have to be balanced. We talked about that a little bit. So creating joy in your everyday, for me, I am a person that really needs to, be very real about the things that are happening in my life. So for me, it doesn't work to just ignore the problems that I have or to just suppress them. It really helps me to see them and acknowledge the way I feel about them. It doesn't mean that you have to solve them or find solutions for them in that moment, but just acknowledging the way that you feel about them will help release a tremendous amount of stress. A tremendous amount of energy goes into resisting, feeling, and acknowledging our problems. And it's mainly the majority of the pain and suffering that we feel is due to that, more so than what is actually happening. Okay. So, and again, that goes back to our talk earlier where we were talking about programming and all these false programs. It's a great step in the right direction of identifying how you can disconnect from putting energy and time and emotions into things that are not necessary, right? So if you start to feel guilt and shame about things that are happening, or you're not feeling in alignment with your life or the work or your partner, whatever it is that's happening, notice that feeling that emotion throughout your day and feeling depressed, it's not productive. It doesn't serve you in any way to feel continuously this emotion. So the quicker you can allow yourself to feel it, the easier it can begin to kind of move out of the body. And you don't have to be holding and repeating it, because when we hold it and we get stuck with the emotion, we keep repeating it. We go into this loop. Okay. And all that looping is occurring because of the learned behavior that we have in correspondence to that emotion and that trigger. So when we talk about deprogramming, we want to deprogram and break those habits. So believe it or not, breaking these monotonous habits that are toxic in your life can begin to change your life immediately. And it's not something that you have to do over a year. In 30 days, you can completely reprogram the way you feel about your life and about the things that are happening just by breaking these tiny little reaction programs that we have. So somebody, let's say your child is being really rowdy, they spilled something. Your reaction is to immediately get angry or frustrated just because now you have to take time out to clean the mess, right? So what if in that moment you caught yourself and you changed that routine into something different? Let's say you laugh about it, okay? And the more that we catch ourselves and change, it doesn't mean that you're not going to still have to clean up the mess and deal with, educating the child and letting her know or him know that they need to be more aware, so on and so forth. All of those things will still occur. What's going to change is the way that you treat yourself in those circumstances. And that is really the number one thing. This is what self-love is all about. Being compassionate enough with yourself where you're not feeling these toxic emotions all the time. You know, who else is going to have compassion for you and move you out of those emotions if not you? Any circumstance in life can happen. It's still going to cause pain and suffering. So you're the only one in charge of that. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, one of the things that I know that when I went through a pretty dark time, and like I think everybody does in their lives, they go through those times where they try and reflect. For me, it was about creating little victories. It was about trying to try something, push myself out of this shell because, like many people in their lives, you go through that time where you just do not like yourself. You don't like what you become. You don't like the way you act. You don't like the way you've been or treated people or whatever it may be. And for me, the shift really came when I decided that I needed to improve who I was because, like you said earlier in the show, life gets cyclical. And, it's funny. I had a friend reach out to me the other day saying, hey, why do I keep falling into this pattern? I said, because your body is trained for that. Your mentality is trained for that. Your soul, your heart is trained for that. And, you can't fit a square peg into a round hole. Mm-hmm. And so the point that I'm getting at, like what I did And I'm not saying it works for everybody, but for me, being competitive, being, back at the time I was in way better shape, so it was all about sports and everything along those lines. For me, it was about trying to find little victories, or what I called little victories in life. I had styled my hair, going back to when I had, real short hair. I had always styled my hair the same way. And I remember this is when those Caesar cuts were coming into style back, in the early to mid 2000s. And I figured, you know what? I want to try one of those. And it looked good on me. It did. And I stuck with it. I'd never made chili before. So I made chili. Turned out fantastic. And the more I looked, the more I went with my imagination. Okay, what can I do next? What can I do to get that buzz, that high of adrenaline, and endorphins that I needed to in order to try and bring myself up. And that's exactly what I did. Was I started looking for these little victories that were just for me. They weren't for anybody around me. They were just for me. And, it's powerful stuff, Geraldine, when
Absolutely.
you get yourself on a roll.
Beautiful. Absolutely. That's
if I could just add one more thing to that, in sports, because and I do a lot, because my life was surrounded by sports. I do a lot with sports, and the one cliche that we always used in sports, and many athletes have used this, and coaches and managers: winning is contagious, and it feels good when you win.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And the thing is, Dave, we constantly try to, we don't account for all of these wonderful things that we already are. The thing is, maybe we're not broken. Maybe there's nothing wrong with us. Maybe we are good the way we are. I mean, the human body is so amazing. We are these multidimensional beings that we have the power of healing ourselves, of creating our reality, of changing our lives, of becoming this victorious person from one moment to the next. Like you said, you can shift and change your experience. Imagine how much power we have over the experiences in life that we have. So just recognizing that and giving yourself credit that, do you know how many things in the universe had to fall into place in order to create you, who you are, exactly who you are? So we really are, each and every one of us, so very special to the collective, to the whole. And all of these life experiences help build us, help create very important experiences. You were born into your family in order to create healing for your family based on your experiences with your knowledge that only you have. So all of these little things that you do to create joy, happiness, transformation in your life is a shift, not just for you, but the entire ancestral lineage behind you. This is the thing that people, they need to recognize. The power that we have as individuals is when we come into that power, that personal healing, that personal empowerment, we come into the empowerment for the collective because we are shifting the vibrational frequency of ourselves as a whole organism, which again, as you were saying, it's contagious. Winning is contagious. And that vibrational frequency begins to shift the person next to us and so on and so forth. And they learn, and you then become a beacon of light to all the things around you. You become this thing that is an example to everything around us. And we begin to grow from those little, what are they called? These exciting achievements that you made. One by one, we start collecting them until you recognize how amazing you are in every sense of the way.
It really is. It really is. All right, we've got about 5 minutes to go before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. And let me ask you this in regards to, people love hearing you talk about ET encounters and everything along those lines. Health and wellness, okay, people who have ET contact, whether it's for the first time or over the years, it affects them on a social aspect. Because they have troubles talking to friends, maybe mentors, workmates, priests, reverends, whoever it may be, any sort of clergy. Would you explain to someone, who is maybe struggling with their own, lack of better term, sanity over their ET contact, how do you explain to them to reach out in order to feel better about what's going on?
Yeah, there's a couple of steps that I really like to share with new contactees that are coming into the awareness of their contact. And the number one thing is, first of all, when you're identifying, it's hard to find the information that you need online immediately. But the first thing I would suggest to do is to try to find a support group online where you can connect with other contactees. Okay. And the reason why I really suggest that, and it was one of the most healing things for me, aside from having hypnosis, a regression to really understand what happened to me, because when you start to hear the stories of other people, you finally can kind of look at what you've experienced and start to accept, number one, and begin to acknowledge yourself for what you've experienced and know that you're not crazy, that you're not, that, because a lot of contactees, they feel like they are, they sometimes they even doubt their own experience. And so they have trouble integrating. And so even talking about the topic is painful. So coming to a place that's very safe, finding a gathering of people that have had the similar experiences creates a network of safety. And it's really important for contactees because, when I first had my experience, my initial reaction was, at first, I couldn't believe what happened to me. Until I recognized the psychic abilities. To me, that was the only way to confirm that what I had experienced was real, because if I hadn't had that proof, I would have thought, oh my God, I had some kind of incredible psychosis or some kind of, dream, some fantastic realistic dream, because I didn't know not only the language, but I didn't have the experience or never before heard of such a thing to be able to say, this is natural contact. You know what to look for, the signs, all the things that you've experienced from the time that you experience it to the, the light, to the body, to the side effects of contact, which are all very real, physical, and emotional side effects. If I didn't know any of that. So it took some time to connect with other contactees. And when I heard their experience, then begin to learn and educate myself about abduction, what it's like, about the side effects. And that was one of the things that really helped me. So try to find, there are some wonderful support groups. I have them listed on my website, hybridmother.com, that you can check out. So if you're a contactee that is going through that process, trying to, find yourself in what you've experienced, find a support group. Now, number 2, if you're ready to accept what happened, if you're ready to regress and take a look for deeper healing, find yourself a regression therapist that specializes on contactee abduction, and or that is aware of it. Because if you find yourself a therapist that doesn't feel comfortable working with the topic, that's not going to be a good place to really work with so much. They have to be comfortable with the topic. They have to be okay to support you during your process of healing. So make sure that you feel very comfortable with your hypnotherapist that you're going to be working with. And the purpose of the hypnotherapy is to help you integrate and heal from the traumatic experiences or the disassociation that occurs as a result of, contact. Secondly, let's say you are not ready for any of those things, or you're done all those things, and now you want to speak to your friends and family about what's happened, create a strong foundation within yourself and an inner knowing before you do that about who you are. And you have to have full acceptance of your own experience first, okay? So if you still haven't had full acceptance of yourself and you're going to go out and talk to somebody that absolutely doesn't believe in what you're doing, You can put yourself in a situation where they're going to start dissecting things and questioning. And if you're not prepared so much for that, it's going to cause you a lot of disconnect with yourself even further.
Right.
That's something that I hear a lot. So those are 3 things that you can really do right away.
All right. Geraldine Orozco's The Spiritual You continues right after this. We have Geraldine for another 30 minutes on Spaced Out Radio. Then we're going to connect up with Vancouver and go right across the country to talk a little bit of aliens and UFO news. Then we'll get to the SOR Newswire, the thought of the day. A jam-packed hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines Report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning us in tonight. We appreciate each and every one of you. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and on the digital side on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. All of our archives are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Frickin' Frickin' is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. On Instagram, you can follow us at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. For the final time tonight, we introduce Geraldine Orozco. She is from Bay Area Meditation in San Francisco, California. BayAreaMeditation.com is one of her websites. The other, GeraldineOrozco.com. We highly suggest you check her on out. And now we're going to get into a little bit of aliens. It's always about the aliens. When in doubt, aliens, Geraldine. Aliens.
That's exactly right. I love that.
I'm going to go down a little bit of a different path with you here, okay? And this is a path that we really haven't gone down with you, because I try and keep the whole UFOs disclosure movement away from our conversations. But I think this is pretty relevant here. One of the things that I have noticed through this new push towards disclosure has been all about the science. Okay, it has been all about, the technology, the propulsion systems, or the whatever these craft that they are catching on video, the military that is, have had, okay? And the encounters that they have had. You've seen them. You've heard people speak about them. You've been to way more conferences than I have. And so you're pretty familiar with this line of talk. However, one of the things that I have noticed through all of this disclosure talk since the To the Stars Academy came out in 2017 is the fact that no one talks about the experiencers. We're not allowed to associate UFOs with aliens. And the way I always like to put it for our audience is this. Once you've had an encounter, it's always aliens. And until you have that encounter, it's never aliens. So my big question for you regarding all of this is a lot of experiencers are feeling that they are in that forgotten realm when it comes to today's ufology. What is the importance today of the experiencer compared to the technology in your mind?
Well, much like many things in our reality right now, there is control of information. And I will say we see that in many other things in our reality, but I also think that it's happening in the disclosure movement, right? And there's been a lot of control since, I don't know, we can go back to the 50s, when we started to see some stuff there. But in any case, what I truly feel is that a lot of this kind of disconnect from the experiencer is a distraction, because what the experiencers have to offer is a lot of times a very first personal encounter with information, with personal experiences, with accounts that are in such detail of technology that we now see, what we're seeing and what we're told of reverse technology that we're seeing in our own government, like triangle ships and a lot of other different kinds of spacecraft that we do see, that is possibly reverse technology, quote unquote reverse, because I think that a lot of this information, it's coming from the same source. It's coming from one source in any case. But the experiencer plays an invaluable role in helping us piece together the puzzle of information, of contact, and it helps us really educate ourselves on what's happening on these other dimensional realms, right? The experiencer that has contact with extraterrestrials, we've been able to piece together, I don't know how many it is. I think it's like 35 or 40 different races or something like that has been accounted for from experiencers that have been interviewed by some of these researchers. They say that they have a collection of 34 or 40 different species. I think that there are, thousands of different species in our universe, really. But how have we always come to these similar depictions of these extraterrestrials, over time? And it's not just something that has been fabricated through media and technology over the past 10, 20 years. These are accounts of experiencers before that, before we had the technology in place. So I think that, the fact that we're not paying enough attention to the experiencer is a distraction from what's really important. The contactee with a first-hand experience, whether it's an experience or a phenomena that's happening that's a psychosis of some sort, it deserves to be investigated. It deserves to be studied on a deeper level than it's ever been studied. And it's never been done. That's the problem, Dave. Like, even historically up until now, there has never been done that research that is necessary to really understand the phenomena. Because what we have is thousands of people that are experiencing PTSD, depression, and really they have their entire lives turned upside down as a result of ET contact. I'm one of those examples. You have had contact. you know the effects it's had on your life. And I mean, a lot of us that have had these experiences cannot go back to a normal lifestyle. And so how does it not deserve, attention? It really deserves some kind of research and dedication to really understand what's happening. To me, the technology that is occurring towards an experiencer alone, I mean, the process of having implants put into the body that are then utilized later on when we are being abducted or taken or in the process of contact, our bodies are completely disabled, put into a certain paralysis that is created within the body. I mean, just that kind of technology is really interesting and really deserves information. You know, we need to do some research on it to understand what's happening. The human body shifts. Why do so many experiencers have heightened psychic abilities after having contact? I mean, that's a complete shift of the human body that is happening on a physical level. So there's obviously a result, some kind of a shift that is happening on a physical level in the body. And so all of that deserves ground. It deserves attention. And if we try to shy away or try to hide the fact or discourage personal encounters of thousands of people, I mean, I really have to question that kind of logic. I don't find a good reason to discount people's experiences. To me, it feels like it's a distraction away from what really matters, and that the experiencer's account should be taken very seriously.
How do we deal with that, though, okay? Because we have a bunch of scientists who want and are geeking out over this potential technology that may be here on this planet. And we have a media that does not understand the magnitude of the story that they are covering. And yet the experiencers are waving their hands, sitting there saying, what about me? What about Travis Walton? What about Chris Bledsoe? What about Calvin Parker? What about Betty and Barney Hill? What about all of these people who've experienced extraordinary things? Why are we not talking about them? And there's a frustration point that seems to be going on with a lot of this stuff, Geraldine.
Well, the thing is, and I have to say, I mean, I think the media does know. Okay, again, we're going to go back to the fact that the media is owned by a very small 10%, which manipulates and specifically constructs the way we see and hear and, process reality. So when you have that going on, there's a tremendous control in how we are being fed information. We are programmed through Hollywood and through movies that aliens are something of fantasy, something that is unreal, something that cannot fall into our reality. Our reality is basically constructed for us to eliminate any kind of ability to integrate the ET phenomena into our everyday lives. And more, we're now barely, and I think this kind of drip disclosure that happens, it's happening now, and it's happened before. It's happened many times before. I feel that it's just a play really on consciousness and on the it really shows that information is heavily controlled. If all this information was open and we could talk about it, I mean, we would be able to do that. But the problem is that all of these platforms of communication are being censored for a lot of this information. I mean, I have to tell you that a couple months ago, I posted a video about this topic on my channel, and my channel got the video got taken off. I wasn't talking about COVID or any of these things. I mean, I was talking about just specifically the contactee, the experiencer, But I'm trying to understand, like, if we're going to be censored this way, what is the world coming to that we can't talk about these topics? For some reason, talking about this topic is a threat. Of course it is. It's a threat to many things. It's a threat to our schools of thoughts that we've been indoctrinated with for centuries. It would put into question religion. It would put into question physics, science. Everything that we know comes into question at that point. So there's entire industries, millions and billions of dollars that would be threatened by a real push towards the discovery of this kind of information, because it would really threaten a lot of other things, right? Even the way that we are handling politics right now. You know, who's running the government on the highest level? Who is that shadow government? Who are really making the choices that we are living out here in society? So a lot of things come into question because what government is allowing to be heard or to be disclosed, you gotta understand that there's a lot of control even in that realm. I mean, even the people that are disclosing information have been controlled on some level. And the way I know this is personal experience, Dave. Even when I want to come out and talk about these topics, there is a pushback against that. Whether the pushback comes through my labs, military abductions, as a result of my coming out or discussing this in public, there is clearly a resistance to the information coming out. So all of these things have to be taken into consideration. And obviously, these things are things that are only spoke of in our community, in the UFO community, where we hear these things and we feel comfortable talking about them. But if you talk about them to a regular person, they're going to look at you like you're nuts. Obviously, the word conspiracy is going to come into play. And as you know, all of the conspiracy concept was created specifically to discount these informations and to put into doubt these kinds of informations. We have to understand that. We have to understand that all of these things are a tremendous amount of control. So that being said, like our conversation earlier, we the people, we the sovereign souls and humans on this planet are more than the 1% that is controlling, even though there's the illusion of more power in money and financial distribution. It's us that actually are larger in numbers that have the ability to speak up. So we can no longer leave it in the hands of media or science or these small little groups of people to disclose the information. It has to be us that really step up to the plate and really share our stories, which is why we do it. You know, I know that's why I do it. It has to be talked about. I can't understand why in the past 20 years there isn't an outroar of women that have experienced, the hybridization program. To me, that's pretty insane, and we're talking about women that really have been affected by that, and also men. It's a large part of a phenomena that's happening in psychology, and it's not discussed further. It's discounted, So all of that to me is just a play on what's important. So it's up to us. We got to do it. We got to talk about it the best that we can. We have to find ways to share our stories.
All right, Kira is asking you, Geraldine. I'm going to rephrase this a little bit, Kira. She's asking, Geraldine, is there an ET race that you think is creating controls right now?
Well, this is a very complex question, okay? And we're when we get into this topic, we go a little bit really into the fringe aspect of all of these things, but you have to experience and you have to understand the matrix that we live in and the reality that is constructed around us to really begin to take it to that point, okay? And my journey has taken me through an investigation of the hybridization program, through my personal experiences, and then after coming out publicly, experiencing a reaction, literally, from the government as a result of coming out. So for me, the way I look at it, there is a clear resistance regarding the uncovering of the extraterrestrial aspect of our reality. The dark government, or the part of our government that manages a lot of these cloning programs that are included as part of the terrestrial hybridization program, are run by draconian reptilian programs. Okay? And further than that, the entire human race, if you look at history, so I really go in depth to all this information, really, because you have to look at historically where we come from. You got to understand who you are as a human. Your DNA is storing information that is much larger than you even know about your body. Okay, it's holographic, and the part of your DNA that is legible in our mainstream biology is very minimal. The dark DNA that is a part of your body holds information of your entire lineage that goes beyond just this planet Earth, because the origin of life on this planet does not originate on this Earth. There is a clear, manipulation of genetics at some point in our human timeline that has shifted the development and the progress and the evolution of mankind. So if you start to trace these lineages that have been in power since the beginning of time, since Mesopotamia, that have gone through into the places of power from which our human race has been created, genetically modified, very carefully and strategically to create different races, different cultures, different religions, different languages, different colors of skin even. All our races on this planet have been modified in a way to create a compartmentalized reality, to make us believe that we are different or separate in some way. And even though physically and superficially we might be different, our DNA is actually a cocktail of this genetic modification. So if we were to look and learn how to read that, we would then understand. Now, why am I taking it to this topic? Because if you look at the families that are historically have been in control, going all the way down to the 25 presidents that are related in the US, these bloodlines can be traced back all the way back to Mesopotamia. Okay, and the origin of these lineages are a hybridization of these reptilian lines and draconian descendants. So, and I'm not the only person to speak of this. I mean, there's many other people that have looked into this research and that have accounted for this, but how I came across this information is through my personal experience and through diving deep into my personal experiences at the age of 5 of being utilized by draconians in order to do remote viewing and being a part of the hybridization program. There is clearly the utilization of our genetic material in order to create the splicing, or our souls, which are being utilized as vessels to prolong the lifespan of the human race for a reason. Because when the human race is in a state of suffering, survival, cyclical patterns, we are feeding chemically, vibrationally, emotionally, and even financially as consumers, as heavily programmed consumers, to sustain a system that is not productive of life. So when you ask me, do I think that these races are behind that? Yes, I do. Because the way that this system is set up in a compartmentalized format is designed to create a certain response from the human body that is manipulated by the first 3 chakras, the root, the sacral, the solar. Okay, so all of the parts of the body that are being manipulated by that are what we talked about earlier today. It's all of these things we think that are so superficial, so simple, but in reality, these are very complex topics that are actually interconnected with many other parts of it.
Geraldine, it has come to that time of the night again where we have to get ready to say goodnight to you. In about 30 seconds here, tell everybody where they can find your work, your website, your YouTube channel.
Absolutely. And you guys can read more about me on my website at GeraldineOrozco.com. You can book DNA reprogrammings with me to begin your healing and integration at BayAreaMeditation.com. And if you're an experiencer, you can reach me at hybridmother.com. And check out the documentary on hybridization program that's also very interesting called Extraordinary Seeding. If you guys have questions, I am here to serve. Please let me know how I can be of service and afford any kind of enlightenment on these topics. Thank you so much for having me. As always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
We will talk to you at the beginning of next month. We absolutely love you, and thank you so much for being a huge part of what we do on a monthly basis here on Spaced Out Radio. Geraldine Orozco, everybody. Coming up next, we're going to hook up with Vancouver. We're going to go right across Canada to discuss some UFOs, fill in those of the Great White North and what's happening. And we got the Thought of the Dave and the SOR Newswire coming up.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. We are going to go to Vancouver now. Let's do this thing. Let's connect with Vancouver right now.
In the world of the supernatural and the most wonderful stories and experiences. It's my favorite part because it's very authentic. It's true sharing. There's Dave.
What
Dave,
is going on, man? I am. How you doing, man? Good to have you here.
I'm wonderful. Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio here on the shift. I'm glad to have you back on the program. I always look forward to this, Dave, because it allows us to sort of look in the blind spots of our lives and maybe share some things and realize some things that we've gone on or that we've seen in our lives that we might have glazed over because we were told that it wasn't a thing or we were a little afraid to share it with our friends. Can I tell you a story before we get started here, Dave?
I would love to hear it, but I want to know, am I on your show as a guest or are you on my show as a guest?
I don't know. It goes whichever way you want, I suppose.
Oh, perfect. Okay, your story.
I did the Charles Adler show by accident last night because we lost the connection, and I was going to talk to Charles as his guest, and then he lost his connection, so I ended up doing the segment, and then he called in and ended up being my guest in that segment. So I guess it could go either way. That's just the way it works. Yeah.
Awesome.
So here's the story, and it has to do with ghosts. So it fits the Spaced Out Radio, but it's not necessarily the topic for tonight. But I wanted to share this because I had a roommate. We lived in a house, and it was the most scariest of all the houses. We just moved in. We signed a year-long lease in this house. We were in there for a couple of months. And there was 2 bedrooms upstairs and a bathroom, and the bedrooms were opposite each other. So here's 2 young dudes in their young 20s, mid-20s, living in this house. And, we used to just leave the doors open, whatever. We'd been friends forever. So the doors were open, and then the next morning, I said to Corey, hey, so you were up late last night? He's like, no, I went to bed early. He said, I thought you were up late. He's like, no. Why? Well, I thought I saw you in the hallway, standing outside my door. He was like, no, man, I thought I saw you outside my hallway, standing outside the door. I was like, no, I'm fine. Are you fine? And we had this awkward conversation about, really? Well, I'll tell you more if you tell me more. No, you tell me more. And so we got into this conversation. Anyway, long story that I'll gladly share all the things that happened in that house. They were freaky. It was amazing. And we asked the landlord, we said, hey, is there anything weird that's happened in this house? And she was like, no, not that I'm aware of. And then Corey said, well, I'll tell you what, we want out. And she was like, no problem. I'll let you out of the lease. All I ask is for you to pay for the ad for the paper. And Corey and I went, yeah, she knows exactly what happened in this house, or nobody stays in this house, because she let us out of the lease like that and let us go. So we didn't ever find out the story of the house. The point of all that, Dave, was because of the sharing. It's because we had the courage to say to each other, hey, man, I got this thing that happened to me. And then turned out he had exactly the same experience.
That is freaky.
And so
that's
freaky. What I really want. I mean, I've got lots of ghost stories we can talk about whenever you want.
Oh, yeah. We'll do that. We'll definitely do that. You know, I recommend to everybody in Canada, honestly, because in the U.S. they have to disclose, I believe, in most states. But if you are going to buy or rent a house, feel free to ask the realtor or the owner if it's haunted. See what their reaction is. Because I rented a place in Mission, British Columbia once, completely haunted. And after a number of experiences, from the pitter-pattering of little feet running down the hallway to voices and orbs and all of this crap going on, I called up my realtor and I said, who I rented off of, and I said, my house is haunted. And he goes, yeah, doesn't surprise me. I said, what? He goes, Mission's an old city. He goes, wouldn't surprise me if about 85% of the houses in Mission are haunted.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so
scary.
Good.
Always ask.
Producer Chris Gilbert just sent out a thing here. He just sent a message to me. He's muted on the video chat right now, working on some other stuff. But he said this is a real thing in Japan. Chris has spent time in Japan. He said you can get out of a lease if it's haunted.
Yeah. Always check. Always check. There's two things you want to know in life if you're moving into a house. Do you have ghosts and do you have aliens? Because you don't want either. You don't want either.
Yeah. Well, at least if they're not going to pay rent. I mean, if they're going to contribute to the rent, then that's different. You're all welcome.
Yeah, okay.
But if you're not going to contribute to rent, get out.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Got to go. Got to go. This place isn't free. All right.
So you go ahead, because we're going to talk a little bit about the year of 2020 and everything that's been kind of going on. We've had so many things happen. So why not continue the conversation and not rule anything out? I think this is a great perspective. So I'm just going to hand it off to you here, Dave, and let you work your magic, because let's not rule anything out for 2020.
All right. So remember last week we were kind of moaning and complaining, well, more so me than you, about the way the Canadian media really hasn't jumped on the whole UFO bandwagon. And, you know, I think our media has done a very big disservice in regards to everything when it comes to UFOs. We need to know up in Canada what is going on with ufology. We need to know what's Canada's role, especially with NORAD. Well, lo and behold, this past week since we talked last, there were two stories that came out. One in the Toronto Star and the other one in Maclean's magazine. Now, an article written by Vijay Menon, from the Toronto Star talks about Bob Lazar and whether or not he actually did work at Area 51, which is kind of weird for us. And then a young lady named, what's her name here? Marie Danielle Smith, who is one of the assistant editors to Maclean's magazine. Okay. She writes, aliens in 2020, why not? After everything that has happened, can we not expect aliens? Should we be preparing for aliens? And the question is, and she took it kind of down like a little bit of a historic part with a zoo hypothesis by John Ball, a radio astronomer at MIT. She goes and starts putting pictures of UFOs and comic roles on there, but to the degree where it made me actually reach out to her, because remember I told you last week that I've reached out to a number of politicians in Canada, members of parliament, and none of them have got back to me. None of them. Okay, it might be due to COVID. It might be due to the economics. It might be due to the whole we scandal, whatever it may be. But nobody's got back to me. I'm getting a little frustrated. Okay, and I actually reached out to our good friend, Mary Danielle. And she actually responded by saying that she was actually very interested in this topic because I brought up the fact with her that the Canadian media has very much dropped the ball when it comes to this story. And she actually wants to reach out again, and she's going to take some time to review things of everything that I put to make sure that I'm actually a journalist and not some, wacko that is trying to get a little bit of 10 minutes of fame at her expense. So we're actually hopefully going to be hooking up again very soon in a conversation to see what we could actually do to get on this bandwagon, because there is a big story there. There absolutely is. It continues in the United States, especially with the New York Times, and we need, as Canadian people, me being Canadian, you being Canadian, and your audience fully Canadian, most of my audience is in the United States, okay? But there is a gelling role there between Canada and the United States that we call NORAD that needs to be understood for the rules of each country. We know the Americans have secrets, but what is Canada's secrets when it comes to this? And hopefully, and I really hope she doesn't drop the ball on this, or other journalists that are starting to wake up to this fact don't drop the ball on this, but hopefully the continued press on this subject will start pressing journalists up here to start asking politicians some tough questions.
Do we want to know, Dave? I mean, for so long we're better off not knowing. So I'm going from the perspective of, kind of how we started this conversation. I mean, my experience has not been around aliens. I have not had that experience myself that I'm aware of, but it has been around ghosts. Some people will cross over those two and say maybe one is just the experience of the other, and we just assume that it's a ghost, not an alien, things like that. So it's neat, though, because in the belief of all of these experiences, you can't really shoot one down when you've had an experience with the other. You by nature have to be open-minded. And for so long we've been, do we need to know, or the public does not need to know? This is something that they just don't need to know. We're going to deal with this quietly. So when we look at this, are we just at a point now, Dave, that people just need to know? We need to know what's going on. It's time for the answers. It's time to start sharing.
Well, I think it's at the point where this is where a controlled narrative has come through, because as I was saying to my guest, Geraldine Orozco, just a little bit ago, all right, when we talk about, for those who've seen a UFO, for those who have had extraterrestrial experiences, allegedly, okay, when you talk about UFOs, it's always aliens. It always comes down to aliens that we are being visited, because in their reality, it's very, very real. But when it comes to the scientific side, the human side of everything, and the fact that there's a lot of this population that is very self-indulged and they don't believe anything, whether they're agnostic, whether they're Catholic, whether they're Hindu, whether they're Jewish, whatever their religion may be, that also comes into play as well. And there is also a fear out of there that has been brought forward, especially over the last number of years by Hollywood, where everything extraterrestrial is of a negative connotation. Well, that weighs on people's minds. And the fact is, it's unknown. How do these people get here? Or how do these extraterrestrials get here? What is their technology? Why are they here? Are they here to take us over? Are they our new overlords? There's a lot of things that go on. And how are we going to protect ourselves? Do nuclear weapons work? How many people are going to die on the planet? This is what goes on. And I don't think personally that the majority of the population out there is actually ready for any type of extraterrestrial contact. It's easy to act big and act tough when you're not put in that situation. But when you're put in that situation, the majority of human beings will always turn and scuttle the other way because they don't want to deal with it. They're not ready. They don't know how. My friend, we saw it during the beginning of COVID. People stocking up on toilet paper instead of soap to wash their hands. Okay? And maybe rubber gloves. We stocked up on toilet paper. Why? Because of panic and paranoia. It was so. Imagine
You said that one thing there, Dave. I just want to, before you continue, there was one thing you said there that got me. You said, how do we protect ourselves? And is that the problem? Because the perspective is from the fear perspective? Because when I see these stories about learning more about, aliens and everything that goes on, see, it's from a place of curiosity. I don't see it as how do we protect ourselves? And maybe that's naive of me. Is the assumption that all aliens are bad, that how do we protect ourselves, that fear piece, is that where we get stuck?
I think that's where it is, exactly. It's the fact that we don't know. We don't know any agendas. Look, if you take the statistics of a group that was brought forward by the late astronaut, Dr. Edgar Mitchell, who was the sixth man to walk on the moon, he has a group called the Free Experiencers, where they had over 4,400 people take a survey about their extraterrestrial contact. 84% of those people stated that they had positive contact and they would love for it to happen again. Okay? Now, that leaves 16% of people who are undecided and those who never want to have it happen again because it was absolutely traumatic to them. Okay? So that's kind of where we can go for statistics. The statistics are out there. However, if you look at the United States, they are very much in promoting a threat phenomena of these encounters because they take everything as a threat when it doesn't enter their airspace without saying, hi, this is where we're from. Okay? But it's the way things are going. People are afraid of this. I mean, I'm telling you right now, my big debate on my aliens coming to Earth bingo card is, what am I hoarding? Do I go straight for the Metamucil? Do I go for the box of Cheerios? What am I hoarding? That's what I want to know.
I don't know if psyllium fiber is going to be the one that everyone's diving for, Dave. I don't know if the psyllium is that could be. I would be curious, and although I'm willing to bet that toilet paper would be on most people's lists. So if we were to turn that around, Dave Scott, how do we turn that around into the conversation of what's cool here, what can be created here, how amazing is this?
Absolutely.
As we just sort of wrap up, how can we turn that around?
Two ways. Number one, educate yourself, because there is a lot of information out there from some very credible researchers, especially if you look in the Canadian market, because you're in the Canadian market. Okay, I think of people like Chris Rutkowski out of Winnipeg, Grant Cameron out of Winnipeg. I think of Victor Vigiani out of Toronto. There are a number of people out there. Ryan Stacy from the Tessa organization in just outside of Toronto. There are a number of people across Canada who have looked very, very specifically into this topic. Review the files from the late Stanton Friedman. He was an American nuclear physicist who became a Canadian citizen in the early 80s. Okay. His work has been phenomenal. Educate yourself that it's not all about fear and movies, that this could be, even if you're a skeptic, check it out, because you might just figure out that it is a real phenomena. If you don't want to believe it, you're okay with that. It's very much okay. Number two, the media has to do a better job at once again, covering the story. They need to be able to ask tough questions, because it's not just about technology. We have to ask about the history that hasn't been disclosed either. In Canada, I think Shag Harbor. I think the Falcon Lake incident. In the U.S., we look at Roswell. We look at the Phoenix Lights. There's a number of different areas there that have to be tuned in.
It's a great way to put it. I absolutely love that. Dave Scott, Spaced Out Radio. What can be created if we can look at this not from a place of fear, take it or leave it, but if we could take it from a place of what can be created? And hey, why not? In 2020?
It's all about education.
At this point, why shut it down?
Absolutely. All about education, and people should educate themselves.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dave Scott. I love the conversation with you. It's really mind-opening for everybody. Thank you, sir.
All right. Talk to you next week, Shane.
Right on.
All right. There we go with our connection right across Canada. And I think it's time for a little bit of this, don't you? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes a downright awesome. Our one story for the night comes from Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley. Yes, Bob and Doug, not Mackenzie. Because not only did they just make history by landing the spacecraft into the ocean as they dropped down in the Gulf of Mexico just the other day, but the real cool part about it is, do you know what they did while they were waiting for their recovery crew to come pick them up? They had a satellite phone, and they started making prank phone calls. How cool is that? So here's the quote. 5 hours ago, we were in a spaceship bobbing around making prank satellite phone calls to whoever we could get a hold of, Hurley says, which was kind of fun, by the way. He also suggested that the satellite phone bill should go to SpaceX founder Elon Musk, who is sitting nearby. Hurley and Behnken didn't elaborate on the content of the prank calls, but here's hoping that they tried to order a pizza for delivery to Go Navigator, the SpaceX recovery ship that fished them out of the water. How cool is that? Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. Explain to me what you miss about doing this summer because of COVID. Shanna, concerts. This is the first year since I was maybe 12 that I have not seen at least one live show. Goddess Michelle. I miss my face. I have to wear disposable masks all day at work, and now mask in any store or place of business. It's eating my face. Nathan, Star Wars conventions. I miss going to them. Marty, one of our favorite veterans who listens to this show, and we love Marty and all the veterans who tune on in. Thank you for your service. He goes, I will miss the 2 August preseason football games I would have attended, including the great tailgate barbecues that go along with them. Thanks for the clown, Marty. Julie is missing baseball. Oscar, I miss the Dead and Company show that I would be at tomorrow night in Virginia. Corona, don't you come back here anymore. Matt, I miss seeing people smile. Yes, that's a tough one right there. That one actually hit me right in the feels on that one. All right, let's move on here. Laura, I miss music concerts. Kevin, daisy chains in the park. Wayne, going to the movies. Bernadette, I miss my vacation. Cheryl, rodeos, concerts, ghost tours, vacations for Laura. Ron misses the fact that hockey's not over yet. It's cloudy and clear where he is. Coral, everything, but mostly the friendly human interactions I have had at various summer events. J.A., day trips in the convertible through the hills of Vermont. Melinda, UFO conferences. I really miss seeing my friends. Chris, taking his daughters to the movies on Thursday nights. Yeah, Denise, concerts and big cookouts. Leslie, not seeing my grandchildren as much. Oh, that one hurts. Debbie, just about everything. Marley's misses going to nightclubs. Chris, concerts and music. Gayleen, just not having to hear or think about it all the time. Becky, concerts because live music is life. David, anything and everything and not knowing who anyone is under those masks. Renee, nothing yet since in New Zealand we are in wintertime. Davy, I miss giving my mom a hug. She was in France for several months, unable to travel home. Even now that she's back in the UK, I can't give her a hug as I have to stay 2 meters away from her. That's the pain. Gail, when one is a recluse, it's pretty much the same year-round. I may even be happier because people aren't knocking on my door trying to encourage me to come out and do something. Go away, I'm busy. Busy doing nothing. Thank you to Captain Shirk for getting our news together. Everybody in the SOR Newswire on Twitter, on Facebook. We'll do it all again tomorrow. To Geraldine Orozco and Shane from Chorus for hanging on out with us. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be, in our chat rooms on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Rev Radio, Facebook, and on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for sharing your evening with us, because together, my friends,
make a mistake, we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Remember, everybody, the Woo Train may have docked for the night, but tomorrow we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night.